The following program is the work of the broadcast students at the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT Magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland, which were produced over the last week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, protesters voice their opposition to taxes funding the Kinder Morgan pipeline.
Church members provide relief to a family by repairing their home.
And mural artists give Granville Island a new facelift. Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Emily Vance.
And I'm Ben Ronald. Demonstrators gathered at the office of a Burnaby MP this week to protest the possibility of taxpayer dollars being used to build the Kinder Morgan pipeline. As Kareem Gouda reports, Ottawa hasn't made a final decision yet, and the protesters hope to convince the government to back off.
Protesters make noise outside Terry Beach's office. The Liberal MP for Burnaby North Seymour isn't here, but demonstrators hope he gets their message. The Trudeau and Alberta governments are looking at these funding options. Either pay for the whole project or provide low-interest loans to get it built. The protesters don't want any federal taxpayer money being used on the project. Environmental activist Aaron Sibenga doesn't think Beach is looking out for his constituents.
It sort of comes down to what other options do we have? There's the people taking bold action up at the tank farm itself, and there's all the arrests and things happening there, and that's making national news, and this is good. But we also need to put pressure on our local politicians. Terry Beach is supposed to represent the people of Burnaby North.
Protesters also gathered signatures to officially oppose the Liberals' involvement. Most economists say the government is in a bind.
What the government's worried about is the message that's being sent to other investors for other projects down the road, that if there's a great deal of uncertainty about the return on your investment, then it may scare off future investments in Canada.
But Aaron says the environmental risks outshine investors' concerns.
There's a whole lot on the line here for not really all that much gain, and we're hoping that Terry Beach will recognize that and stand up for Burnaby North in the House of Commons.
A decision on using federal money for the pipeline is expected by May 31st. Kareem Gouda in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
A local church is helping community members through some of their toughest times, but not in the traditional way. Langley's Church of the Valley started its annual home repair program years ago. This year, the church is helping out a husband and wife who may otherwise have lost their house. Jackson White has the story.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
Though these Aldergrove neighbors started construction on a house over the weekend, the home isn't theirs, and they aren't being paid. Instead, they're volunteering for Extreme Home Repair. Sponsored by a local church, the annual charity event completely renovates a struggling Langley family's home for free.
It is sponsored by a church, but it's not exclusive. We open it up to whoever wants to help us. And so we're going to keep doing this, whether it becomes big, huge, or not. We're just going to keep doing what we feel is our mandate, and that's to help a family or two every year, help make ends meet and help them out.
Each year, organizers choose a family whose home has fallen into disrepair due to circumstances beyond their control. Extreme Home Repair operates out of Langley's Church in the Valley. Many times it has been able to help more than one single family in a year.
So this is the 15th year of Extreme Home Repair. It is not just the 15th family helped. Acts of Kindness, the charitable initiative organization run through Church of the Valley, has helped 20 families to get back into their homes and finish repairs after a family crisis of some sort has made it impossible for them to do so themselves.
Charlene and Chris Adam were chosen for this year's renovations. They purchased their house as a fixer-upper 12 years ago, but Charlene has since suffered a stroke which reduced her to just working part-time. Chris was diagnosed with MS in 2016, putting him on permanent disability. They both say the repair came as a complete surprise, but a vital one.
They weren't looking for any meetings of help.
But it's sure going to be nice not to have you worrying about that every day. Because that stress, I can't imagine. Being at home and not being able to do the simple things around the house that need doing.
That makes life tough.
I'm sure.
Chris and Charlene are staying in their in-laws' backyard until their home is finished and say they have no idea what the finished product will look like. The reveal is scheduled for Victoria Day Monday, when over 200 volunteers who worked on the home are expected to show the Adams the finished product. In Aldergrove, Jackson White for BCIT Magazine.
We are joined now by our reporter Jackson White. Jackson, what is the reach of extreme home repair? Is it only Langley families that qualify for help?
Well, while the project started in Langley, we're told that it has actually spread all over the world since. There are countries in Europe and then even the United States have their own extreme home repair projects going on. While they're all run by local churches in their own areas, they're all based upon the model originally put forth by Church in the Valley and Acts of Kindness in Langley.
And Jackson, are there any plans to select another family this year?
Well, there's no definitive plans for that at this moment. It's largely a play-it-by-ear scenario for Acts of Kindness. They say they will not go forward with a family unless they can find one who, through a family crisis, is made completely unable to pay for renovations on their own. So right now, it's just the Adams on the docket, but if they do find that second perfect family, we may see another renovation going on for the latter half of 2018. Back to you.
Thank you, Jackson. Up to 20% of Canadians suffer from mental health issues. This is National Mental Health Awareness Week in Canada, so reporter Ashley Moliere spoke with one Burnaby woman who shares her battle with anxiety to try to help others.
All right, that's good tea.
Making a cup of tea is just one thing Brianne Williamson does to try to keep her mind healthy. Deep breathing and journaling also help calm her chronic anxiety. Though she tries her best, sometimes the illness still creeps in.
My chest gets tight, my breathing feels constricted, sweaty palms, those sorts of things. And then when it gets really bad, then it's just like complete loss of control.
With symptoms like these, there is one more thing Williamson does.
We're talking about mental health.
She video blogs about her anxiety to thousands of her social media followers.
At the end of the day, I still do it because if there's, sounds cliche, but if there's one person that connects to the way that I deal with it or the way that I struggle, then that's fine by me.
And Williamson is not alone. According to the Canadian Mental Health Association, 1 in every 5 Canadians experiences a mental health challenge or mental illness every year.
You don't have to tweet about it or whatever, but if you tell one person, we know that actually the chances of people accessing mental health care goes up like 30% if they know someone else who access mental health care. So just
Although Williamson receives a lot of praise from her followers, some people question the severity of her illness.
You know, the thing that I most commonly get is, you know, what's so bad? You know, everything's okay. Like, you have a good life, you have what looks like a good family, you know, have a good relationship. Like, what are you kind of complaining for? And the thing is I don't know. Like, I wish I had the answer. Hey humans, what's up? Welcome back to my channel.
Williamson vows to continue sharing her story to attack the stigma surrounding mental health. Ashley Moliere in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
In my life, so it's been pretty crazy to check it out.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, a robot drawing artist is creating portraits in New West.
And restaurants across Vancouver do their part to help feed hungry youth.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, you know, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Magazine. A new exhibit at the New Media Gallery in New West may be redefining the meaning of art. Jeff Mallow has the story on Paul, the robot artist.
You are looking at an artist, or are you? 5RNP, or 5 Robots Named Paul, is a new exhibit at the New Media Gallery. Patrick Trisse created and programmed Paul to draw portraits of people live in the exhibit.
The eyes look up at people in this very strange way. And you sometimes feel a little bit judged, perhaps. And then they've got an arm, and the arm is an articulated metal arm, sort of robotic arm that we're quite familiar with, and it holds a pen, and it draws. All of these things are connected together into this robot.
As you can see on my right, Paul's become a fairly popular artist in New West.
If you want to book a session with Paul, the next availability is early in June. New West City Councilor Patrick Johnstone was lucky enough to get a spot.
They all have a very different feel to them. So there's one that I look like Marlon Brando, love that one. There's one that I look like my father, but I can see myself in all of them, which is interesting.
While Paul is changing the way art is done, it still lacks certain qualities that a sketch artist has.
These cameras looking at you and then looking away and then looking at you again and calling attention to you that they're looking at you again. It's creepy.
If the robot doesn't recognize a face, it will either make an abstract drawing or it will go off in some other direction. So for example, we had a robot that became obsessed with drawing a checkered shirt. Someone wore a checkered shirt and it became really obsessed with that. So it's interesting.
Paul the robot might be a difficult artist to work with who might deviate into abstract art, but that doesn't mean that Paul isn't paving the way for other programmers and robots to one day be a part of the art community. Jeff Mallow in New Westminster for BCIT Magazine.
Diners across Canada help support a range of charities this week through the Meal Share program and an event called Tonight for Tomorrow. Joe Barduck tells us how they help charities like the Boys and Girls Club of the South Coast feed hungry youth.
Stir-fry vegetables. The sizzle of a pan. It's all part of providing a warm, healthy dinner for youth in need. These kids come from a tough place where a meal sometimes isn't easy to find.
Kids are good at hiding the things that maybe they're embarrassed about or that they know relates to the struggles that their families are having. And when we get to actually, in a really dignified and respectful way, give them the food that they need to nourish them, to give them the energy to learn and play, then we are achieving on our mission.
The meal is the primary driver to get youth in the door. Once there, it's the art, social life, and teamwork that will help kids work through their tough times. Working with the restaurants, the Meal Share program helps charities like the Boys and Girls Club get the funding they need.
When they go in and they help build a lunch and then give it out to these kids and chat with them, then they go play dodgeball or play arts and crafts with them, they can actually like put a face to not just like this random check they're writing every month, but they actually like see these kids and interact with them and they get attached to them. I think that's so important.
During the Tonight for Tomorrow event, all proceeds from meals served at sponsoring restaurants will go to the charities involved, including the Boys and Girls Club. For restaurant owners, it's all about giving back.
Just had a daughter at that time and was feeling a little bit humbled, if you may, and so I thought I would love for everybody to have the same experience where they're able to provide for their children.
Last year's event raised $62,000, and this year, organizers are shooting for $80,000. I'm Joe Barduck in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Our reporter Joe Barduck joins us now. So Joe, how many restaurants are partnered with Meal Share for the events?
So Meal Share is partnered with 62 restaurants in Vancouver. Now 19 of those restaurants participate in the Tonight for Tomorrow event. But don't forget, Ben, Mealshare is partnered with restaurants all across Canada and even the United States.
And how did the event turn out this year?
Well, I spoke with Derek from Mealshare after the event, and he said it was an absolute success. He said that restaurant owners reported having the highest number of customers that they ever have in previous years. But what's fascinating is that he said that restaurant owners also said that they completely sold out of meals. So to Derek, that in itself is a telltale sign of a good year. Back to you.
Thank you, Joe. Gas prices in BC have reached an all-time high, forcing Vancouverites to seek other alternatives. One BCIT student decided to trade in her car keys for a Compass card because maintaining a vehicle became unsustainable. Catherine Garrett has the story.
Students and professionals alike are transitioning from driving to other alternatives, like transit, due to rising prices around the city. A BCIT student says not only does it save money, but it cuts time out of the morning commute.
Well, I have to buy premium for my car, so it's really unaffordable for me, and it takes me about 45 minutes in traffic to get here, so it's just faster to transit, and I can't afford to pay gas anymore.
She says that while it has changed the way she commutes, it hasn't affected her other spending habits.
I've just tried not to use my car as much, so instead of, I still go out often enough, but just walking instead of driving places.
While some people have changed their habits, others feel that their hands are tied.
Well, I thought about taking the transit, but I'm from North Van, so I don't really want to go on the C bus and then over to the SkyTrain and then onto a bus to get over here, so I'm just gonna spend more money on gas.
The moral of the story here is if you stop to get gas and fill up, chances are you're going to have to hit the ATM afterwards because gas prices in BC are at $1.60 compared to the national average of $1.22.
Our gas prices are starkly different from the rest of the country. Other alternatives to driving include Moto, Car2Go, Evo, cycling, and public transportation, and they're gaining traction as well. This summer, gas prices are predicted to rise as high as $1.75 per litre in the Lower Mainland. Catherine Garrett in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
As of this Monday, visitors and residents of Deep Cove will have to suck it up if they want a plastic straw. In an effort by local businesses to make the area more environmentally friendly, all cafes and restaurants have ditched plastic straws entirely. Local merchants thought the move was imperative, especially with a growing number of visitors to the Cove. Coming up after the break, new parents and their babies find time to socialize at a brewery.
And student musicians throw a free concert to celebrate school music programs.
Standby graphics, ready, camera one.
If you want to experience the fast-paced world of news,
today on BCIT Magazine, striking,
make magic on a movie set,
frame,
and action, or bring your creative ideas to life, BCIT's hands-on training will get you started. BCIT Television and Video Production. Your possibilities start here.
I chose BCIT because I know that all the programs are very hands-on. We have our own radio station, like it's one of the best programs that I've ever heard of.
I am starting a job on Monday, so confidence is high.
Honestly, I didn't think it was going to be this fun.
We've collected some of the best events around Vancouver that you and your mother can do together and show her that you care.
Is your mom the active type? Then take her to Stanley Park, downtown Vancouver for the Blue Shore Financial Mother's Day Run. Walk or run 3K, 5K, and 10K and enjoy the seawall with your mom.
Less of a runner and more of a baker? We'll take your mother down to the Mother's Day Bake at the Uncommon Cafe. Add some sugar, spice, and make your Mother's Day extra nice.
Are you still looking for something to do? Then why not stretch out your love with some yoga? A Mother's Day yoga section will be held at Dharma's Temple Yoga on Main Street.
And if it's the finer things that you enjoy, why not add a note of sophistication and just a hint of love with some wine tasting around the Fraser Valley? All-day tour with transportation included, starting at Canada Place. So whatever you do to decide to treat your wonderful mother, have a happy Mother's Day.
Welcome back to BCIT Magazine. Local artists are using concrete as their canvas on Granville Island. Our reporter Michael Panis explores a new public space full of colorful murals.
Art can transform public space, and it can liven it up, and it can bring beauty to spaces where beauty didn't exist before.
Sandeep Johal is one of 10 artists painting murals at Granville Island for Art Smash, the newest project that has local artists and the Vancouver Mural Festival team helping turn the once blank concrete space into a vibrant outdoor art gallery.
Being able to put these artists into such a large-scale environment is really exciting in the sense that it becomes like a really, well, one, it's a fun technical challenge for these guys because generally they're occupying spaces indoors and working a lot smaller. It's like a big reminder for the public that we are sitting on such an amazing hotbed of talent.
This isn't the first time people are seeing art displayed in a big scale. The murals will be joining the silos painted by Brazilian artists Ozemios back in 2014.
I feel like it's good for the neighbor. It kind of livens up the atmosphere and makes it more a pretty place.
I mean, there's some really nice buildings in the city where they disguise, say, garages with greenery or use timber for texturing the concrete and things like that. But I mean, that's much better than just some plain concrete cylinders that look hideous on the skyline.
And even in the city of glass, visitors appreciate the beauty of the new murals.
It's very nice places to be, because you are very comfortable with this art in the street.
The mural stands over 70 feet tall on the pillars of the Granville Street Bridge and took 9 days to finish. For the team working on these murals, it's more than just paint on a wall.
That's what this is all about, is, bring the people together through shared beauty.
Art can give people something to think about, really, as they're walking around.
The murals will be showcased Saturday, May 12th. Michael Panis in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
A brewery in Langley hosts a monthly social that brings together tots and hops. Reporter Noah Bergstrom tells us more.
Trading Post Brewery welcomes a different kind of crowd on the first Tuesday of each month. That's when infants are strolled in for their Babies and Brews event.
I think doing something like this just brings a little bit of normalcy to your life, because most moms had a social life before and had the odd drink here or there, and so I think it's just nice to do it in this context.
Parents dealing with the struggle of balancing family and leisure time are given a taste of what their social lives were like before parenthood. And they don't even have to hire a babysitter.
A lot of the things that I've read about in new mommy experiences is everybody feels so incredibly isolated. And I haven't really had that experience because I've got my best friend who also has a baby at the same time. But if I didn't have that and I didn't have other groups to go to like this, I think that I would feel incredibly isolated at home by myself,
Families at the event agree building a strong support group while raising a child is important for parents and babies alike.
It sucks because you need to know people in the community, especially when you're having a tough day. But yeah, we really appreciate it. We got to meet somebody. We didn't know anybody before we came, so we met a whole new group of friends.
Trading Post says with a strong turnout of more than 50 people for their first two events, it might have to hold Babies and Brews lunches more often in the coming months. Noah Bergstrom in Langley for BCIT Magazine.
The 14th annual Music Monday event was held to celebrate school music programs across the country. And though the importance of these programs can sometimes be overlooked, this crowd needed no convincing. My co-anchor Ben Ronald was there.
Nobody had a case of the Mondays at Robson Square. Bands and choirs from 4 elementary and high schools across the Lower Mainland joined together in downtown Vancouver. And students from coast to coast participate in Music Monday. It was a celebration of the pivotal role school music programs can play in children's lives.
The reason why it's important is the structure you can get through music education, and not just any music education, a proper structured music education is unmeasurable.
Music programs are so often the first ones on the chopping block at budget time. But for the people here, the value that music programs bring will last a lifetime.
It's so important that it is a part of our school system. It humanizes our students, and it needs to be part of all of their learning.
These kids might not turn out to be professional musicians, but the connections they make with each other can be invaluable. Connections they would not have made otherwise.
We know that there's research that shows that music education indeed changes the brain, and there are endless social, emotional, mental health benefits that come from learning music, and it's so important that it is a part of our school system. It humanizes our students, and it needs to be part of all of their learning.
Music is expensive. It costs hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to purchase and maintain equipment. And that's why school programs have a hard time keeping up with the costs. And yet every single person we spoke to here talked about how their school program has had a major impact on their lives. And for them, you can't put a price on that. Ben Ronald in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
BC has banned veterinarians from declawing cats for non-therapeutic reasons. Nova Scotia is the only other Canadian province to have done this. The practice is also not permitted in other countries like Australia, the United Kingdom, and parts of Europe.
Eagles fans can take it easy as their beloved band will be back on tour in 2018. They haven't toured since the passing of founding member Glenn Fry back in 2015. The Eagles will be in Vancouver tonight at Rogers Arena. If you have any questions regarding the show, you can contact us at bcit-broadcast.com or bcitbroadcastnews.ca.
That's our show for this week. I'm Emily Vance.
And I'm Ben Ronald. Thank you for watching. We leave you with another look at Paul the Robot in action.